the individuals have the same opportunity to get eaten. And if you had two frogs in a large group that one had a mutation that made him poisonous, and he gets eaten, that doesn't do anything for him. That just
correct.
ends him right there.
Right, but remember that evolution is something that takes place among populations, not among individual organisms. So, in the example that Matt gave, you know, once you know, it became very clear to you know, other life forms, other predators, that hey, if you eat the yellow frogs, you'll die. And if you eat the green frogs, you won't die. They'll stop eating. I mean, some yellow frogs will get eaten because, yeah, sure, that's how you find out that eating the yellow frogs is a bad thing. But eventually you stop eating the yellow frogs, you just concentrate on the green frogs, which enables the yellow frogs to propagate their species more. That gives them an evolutionary advantage. And it also means that the predators go on to other prey. And so that is, in fact, a way in which you know, evolution can benefit that particular species over you know, one that doesn't quite have as good a defense mechanism.
But to hit your specific point, where you said, let's say one frog evolved as, first of all, that's not quite the way evolution works. But okay, yes, in that case, it would have been no benefit for the frog. That's why 99% of the species that have ever existed have gone extinct. What you're seeing among the living creatures are those whose mutations have either produced a benefit or not produced a negative, something that would hinder their ability to propagate the species. But yeah, I mean, it's possible that over the course of life, there have been, you know, I don't know how many millions of species who evolved some quirky thing that turned out either at that time or at any time to not be beneficial. There's nothing intrinsically beneficial about the ability to secrete poison.
You know, I think that there's quite a lot of literature out there that you can just go ahead and read up on to fill some of these, you know, sort of areas where you have holes in your knowledge and you have questions where things just don't seem to make sense. But earlier, getting back to your original question, none of this ultimately really ties into whether or not there was some sort of force, as you put it, to have created everything in the first place. You know,
yeah, well,
they're separate questions.
If I hate to pick on your original argument because we've already gotten past that. Your assertion was that there was this power that got everything started and then kind of went away. Well, if that's what happened, then evolution is the mechanism that power necessarily used if it went away and doesn't intervene. You're arguing against two different points. If you find objections to evolution that you're just not convinced, and you're going to use that for an argument for the existence of God, then you are necessarily arguing for God that tinkers throughout history with the progress, not just a God who starts everything off and leaves it rolling. I'd recommend going to talkorigins.org because what you're going to find is not just how does something like the ability to secrete a poison evolve. There are more curious features among species in evolution where you have two different species that are completely dependent upon each other for their survival.
Right.
This kind of synchronistic evolution and process. So
we're like that, right? I mean, if we didn't have the bacteria that live in our gut to digest our food,
but they might not need us.